This video is sponsored by NordVPN. A central message of the Zelda series is that anyone, no matter how small, can stand up against tyranny and evil if they have courage. Because of this, Link as a character isn't often heavily developed. He's usually more of an avatar to let the player feel that they're the one involved in the story, with some exceptions like Breath of the Wild's Link's memories and the tragic story of the hero of time and so on. But while Link is closer to a blank slate, the other characters of the Zelda series are some of the most colourful and eccentric in video games, as bizarre as they are brilliant. But the Zelda series characters' backgrounds aren't always fleshed out or explained. Some appear and vanish inexplicably or are found in places or doing things which should be impossible. So in this mini-series, let's look through some of the more mysterious Zelda characters. Subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content, and let's get into it. Few races in the Zelda series are as shrouded in mystery as the Wind Tribe. A strange people, recognisable by their bright red hair, the Wind Tribe once lived in the area of the Minish Cap's Hyrule now known as the Wind Ruins, but moved later to the clouds. The Wind Tribe are the masters of their element, able to build large houses and palaces in the sky, suspended by their magic. One member of the Wind Tribe is particularly enigmatic, Gregor. Gregor is actually relatively easy to miss during the Minish Cap. He's found in the Wind Tribe's home upstairs, however he's fatally ill, plagued by a strange ghost. By the time in Link's adventure when he would normally gain access to the cloud tops, Gregor has already succumbed to this curse and passed away. This means to save Gregor, Link needs to access the area early, which is doable by fusing kinstones with a member of the Wind Tribe, Strato, in the town, which causes a portal to the house in the clouds to appear, allowing Link to save Gregor by sucking up the ghost with the Gust Jar. Gregor, now saved, will immediately reward Link with only mysterious shells, but later in the game, just before the Palace of Winds, will also gift him the light arrows, allowing Link to charge his bow to unleash a more powerful sacred attack. If it wasn't strange enough that this old man in the clouds grants Link the light arrows, weapons usually gifted by Zelda herself, small comments about Gregor add to this mystery. He mentions that he was once known as Gregor the Great, and that he was once a little famous. He's also referred to as once being a mighty hero, even one who used something called a Gust Jar to fight monsters. Link's Gust Jar is found within the Deepwood Shrine, so perhaps this was the very same one once used by the hero known as Gregor, a mighty warrior who fought monsters and still holds on to the light arrows, eventually passing them on to the hero of the next generation. Gregor being a previous incarnation of Link, like Gramps might be in A Link Between Worlds, seems unlikely due to the old man being a member of the Wind Tribe with red hair, but who knows. Regardless, his mysterious past as a powerful hero makes him one of the more interesting characters in the Minish Cap. Great fairies are never the simplest of Hyrule's inhabitants, inherently strange, sacred beings who call the fairy fountains their home. Great fairies range from larger versions of the typical depiction of a fairy, winged pixie-like women, to just massive women in Breath of the Wild and Ocarina of Time. And there's even the alien-like versions of Four Swords Adventures and the Wind Waker. But perhaps the strangest great fairy of all is found in the empty wilderness of Breath of the Wild, Malenia, the horse god. At first glance, it's not immediately apparent that Malenia is a great fairy. He sports a strange tribal sort of design, with floating body parts and a giant wooden horse mask. But he's found in a fairy fountain, requires rupees to return to power, and his theme is based on the fairy fountain theme, simply with a Pona song mixed alongside it. Malenia is referred to as the god of horses by the people of Hyrule, and his powers reflect this. He's able to resurrect dead horses. Great fairies, and fairies in general, are closely connected to resurrection and healing, such as bottled fairies reviving Link upon death, so it's not surprising that a being similar to a great fairy would have the power to resurrect horses. What is surprising is why a being like this exists, one who looks looks so vastly different from the other great fairies, who has such a volatile personality and who strangely falls like a puppet with cut strings when he returns to his fountain. This animation is reminiscent of the Queen of Fairies, who not only holds a puppet of a great fairy, but vanishes in a similar fashion. But it doesn't solve the mystery of who this strange god of horses is, or when he came into being. What's not a mystery, however, is how to use today's sponsor, NordVPN, who make it incredibly easy to protect your anonymity online. NordVPN offer thousands of different servers in over 60 countries which you can switch to at the click of a button, and you can set it up like I've done to auto-connect as soon as you boot up whichever device it's on, meaning you can really just forget about it entirely, knowing that you're a hell of a lot more secure online. Not only does NordVPN encrypt your data twice, switching to one of their servers in another country allows you to bypass region locks for things like watching different shows on foreign Netflix. So if you're interested, head over to nordvpn.com/Zeltic today and grab 70% off a 3-year plan, completely risk-free due to their 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/Zeltic. The humble cuckoo is one of the most iconic creatures in the series, a seemingly harmless chicken which, bizarrely, can summon a storm of its foul brethren to attack anyone who threatens it. They first appeared in A Link to the Past, alongside this famous little Easter egg, but so too did a particularly strange individual. In a house in Kakariko village, Link can find 2 pots, one containing just a heart, but the other containing a lone cuckoo. This cuckoo isn't much different from the regular ones, except that it doesn't call for reinforcements when attacked, but if Link sprinkles magic powder on it, it'll suddenly transform into a human woman, confused as to what's happened. When the cuckoo realizes that it's now a human, it'll recognize Link as the one who's been tormenting its friends, warning that the weathercock is always watching him, before claiming that the human form is uncomfortable to it. The weathercock is of course the central landmark of Kakariko village, from which Link can summon the bird used to fast travel, but what the cuckoo means about it always watching him abuse the cuckoos is a mystery. Perhaps the weathercock itself is somehow responsible for calling down the feathered frenzy from the skies. Who knows, but the transforming cuckoo is a great little secret in A Link to the Past. Twilight Princess's castle town is a bustling market, and one of the best areas in the game to explore, home to a large amount of unique, colourful characters. One of the strangest is Fanadi, the fortune teller found in her tent. Fanadi acts much the same as other fortune tellers in the series. She'll either hint as to where Link needs to go, or where he can find a piece of heart he hasn't yet discovered. However, in addition to her already mysterious occupation, Fanadi hides some further secrets, like her connection to the Sheikah. Not only does she sport the classic red eyes of the Sheikah, she has blonde hair similar to Skyward Sword's Impa, and even has the Sheikah crest tattooed on her forehead. Even her Japanese name, Imperess, hints at a strong connection to the Shadow Folk, while her English name, Fanadi, just implies a connection to the goddesses, as it's comprised of the first 2 letters of each golden goddess's name. Twilight Princess doesn't explicitly feature the tribe, with Impaz, the old lady found in the hidden village, being the closest thing the game has to a true Sheikah. The Sheikah are closely tied with themes of clairvoyance and seeing the truth, so it wouldn't be surprising if Fanadi had some sort of connection to the tribe, or perhaps even is a Sheikah herself, but it's unlikely that we'll ever know for sure, or learn why a possible Sheikah simply tells fortunes in Castletown rather than serve the royal family in secret. Ocarina of Time's Spirit Temple is found in the heart of the Gerudo Desert, past the treacherous land perpetually engulfed in a raging sandstorm known as the Haunted Wasteland. Passage across the wasteland is nearly impossible, the first major barrier being a river of quicksand, requiring Link to use his longshot or hover boots to overcome. Near the centre of the desert is a stone hut, with a sign reading, "One with the Eye of Truth shall be guided to the Spirit Temple by an inviting ghost." Without Link's items, this plaque would seemingly mean nothing, but if he equips the Lens of Truth, a Poe becomes visible, announcing that it'll be your guide on your way, but coming back it won't play. It'll show you the only way to go, so follow it and don't be slow. Following the Poe allows Link to safely reach the Spirit Temple, but like it says, it won't lead the hero on the return journey. But it's never explained who the Poe is, or why it helps people through the desert. We know that at least some Poes, if not all of them, are the souls of deceased individuals, like the Composer brothers, musicians slain by Ganondorf who at first attack Link before realizing he's a friend, not foe. But the Phantom Guide's identity, or the reasons behind why it helps travelers through the desert, is never revealed. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like or subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content, and be sure to check out NordVPN with the link in the description. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.